Why, hello there, and welcome to another live stream. And, hey everyone, JST Cool here, and, yes, today I am doing more programming stuff once again. So, hello there. And, so, to explain where I'm actually doing today, I should have prepared for this a bit better. So, hold up. So, please hold while I, do something that I wasn't anticipating having to do here. Yes, I am so prepared today. Oh, the most prepared. Because, you see, it doesn't seem to matter how much I try to prepare. I will always end up unprepared in some way. That's the file that I need to adjust. Save that. All right. So. All right, I can switch back. All right, so this is my game. If you don't know it, well, you can check it out. Link in the description. I'm quite possibly fairly close to being able to actually produce the next patch here, which you can see I'm on right now. But there's one kind of quality of life improvement that I want to make to this, because you see, if I go into multiplayer here, and I'll just... Oh, by the way, sorry if you hear any background noise. My brother is watching a football game in the common area, and I think he's rooting for one of the teams, so you're gonna hear potentially some stuff from there. I'm not entirely sure. But if you do, sorry about that. Nothing I can do. Anyhow, so on the screen there are a couple areas where you can enter text, and the text system isn't the best, or the text entering system isn't the best here. So first of all, you gotta actually click somewhere to start entering stuff. And I mean, you can, type stuff, you can backspace stuff. Annoyingly, you can't just hold a letter and have it spam that. And the thing is, it used to be able to do that, but for some reason OpenGL doesn't operate like that, which is a little bit confusing. And I'm not entirely sure why it doesn't. So that's a thing. But so the experience of entering text here isn't too bad. But there have been a couple errors here in the past. But this is the most basic possible text editor. You're always just editing the text at the end of the line. You can't like maneuver the cursor around that line. You can't jump anywhere, highlight anything. And the text system is quite a mess in the code for this game, because there's like 3 separate systems that I use that were developed at 3 separate points in time that do the same thing similarly, except it's all different. And some of it's really weird and old. So I am going to standardize this today, which is what we're doing. We're making a proper text box situation. Now, it will be more of a proper UI element, which will be able to scale with the window, and will also handle all the text input stuff automatically. So this will be an add-on to my kind of user interface element stuff that I've been recently building out for my game. Obviously, the stuff originally started with my button class here, which was a bit of a process making this. I actually initially created this class for something else, but I started using it with my game because it was so much more convenient than manualizing everything. The encapsulation provided by this and the little bit of abstraction really helped, which then coalesced into the more recent user interface UI frame system that I've been using recently. What is this complaining about? Oh yeah, that probably could be statically accessed. Okay, well, I'm not going to worry about that right now. But basically, the idea of the UI frame system is that you have this one object which is purely responsible for keeping track of the size and position of all where the UI elements are supposed to be. And it's always going to know exactly the right scale and position to be able to put stuff in, so that when the window gets resized, everything is kept in the right-ish position, but is able to actually size appropriately. A key portion of this is making sure the aspect ratio of all UI elements never changes, even if the aspect ratio of the window itself changes. And so that's what this class is doing. And so I obviously made an extension to the button, called it a UI button, because it uses the UI frame system, which just overrides certain portions of the button to allow it to automatically scale stuff. And because it is obviously an extension of the button, it can be just substituted in for any button at any point, which is pretty convenient. I've then also made a couple other things, which is a slider for slidery purposes that can be used with the UI system, and then a text which gets automatically scaled and positioned correctly. So now I'm adding the text box onto this. So we'll start by doing that. So UI text box .java. Now, these are specifically made to be, while yes, using processing stuff, pretty independent of processing in most situations, actually. Actually, I don't even import anything for these classes, so that's pretty cool. Alright, so alright, so first thing, class declaration. Pretty simple. Then we're gonna need the to store an instance of the UI frame. We'll name it UI, and alright, so here's what I'm thinking we're gonna need. For the base of this, we're actually gonna do something similar to the UI slider here and actually have a button in the base of this, because we're gonna need to know when the player clicks on user, it could be a player, not necessarily having to be used for game purposes, although that's how I'm using it, obviously. We're gonna need to know when the user actually clicks in the area of the box so we can do stuff with that. So for that, we're going to be also putting a button in. And the button will be convenient, as that will be our background render for the box anyway. Mega convenience. Actually, a good chunk of the start here is just going to be copying a lot of stuff out of the UI sliders. It's going to be, the very base of it's going to be very similar, but obviously we're going to change stuff on top of that. So, oh, I thought of something else I could do. This stuff, I believe, is all stuff that we should keep here. All right. I realize I've started doing stuff in a not necessarily the best order. Alright. Alright. That is going to be all the basic stuff that we're going to need. Actually, but I realized I should actually show you what this whole UI system is and kind of how it works. So the first thing is we're going to make a UI frame UI. Technically could make it at any point, but I'm going to initialize it up here. Frame of 1280 by 720. So when you make the UI frame, oh, hold up. There we go. You, first of all, you do provide it the actual reference to the sketch window, or the application, which is for rendering purposes, because all the subcomponents need to be able to render to the window properly, and because we're not doing them directly inside of processing files, and I want this to be as modular as possible, we're not directly getting that reference. It also needs, to be able to check the size of the screen, so that's quite important. So that's what this constructor does. Also, giving it the default size allows it to, adjust stuff. I don't think we need to do much beyond that, apart from a window resize. I'd have to check this. Rescale. Rescale will just completely recalculate all of its framing. So we just need to go say UI.rescale, and then we should never have to touch that again. All the rest of the methods in here are purely for any components that end up using the UI frame for their rendering purposes. And we will be using those later. So that's that. We'll create a button. Now this technically doesn't have to be a UI button, I just will. We'll we're just gonna call button A. So button A equals cool. Button. I'm realizing as I'm going here, I might want to release this stuff as its standalone program or library for processing just in general someday, because some of the stuff could be very useful to some people who are more beginnerish and don't want to make all the stuff themselves. All right, button size. We'll do it at like 130 40 for a size of 200 by 80, and I won't bother putting anything on the button as it is a little bit unnecessary, for my opinion, to do that. All right, so here's what. Oh, it opened on this week. So here's. I'm very confused all of a sudden. What the heck does it mean buffers haven't been created? Okay, I've never seen this error in processing before and have no idea what happened. Let me see. Update internal bug. Animation thread run. Call draw. This has nothing to do with any of my code. I have no idea what the heck happened here. It's an illegal state, so buffers have not been created. Well, then create the buffers? I don't know. The sketch was up and running for a hot second there. Anyhow, as I was attempting to say before. Okay, so here we are. This box here is our button. Actually, here I can go set a color. Let's see. 80 FF00 and hashtag 000000. Right. Say that is a fancy fill color with a black border. Okay, so this is our button. I haven't obviously set up anything for it to do when it's clicked. It's just effectively a rectangle that's going to resize the UI. And so to prove that, I'm now going to resize the screen horizontally here. It looks like it's moving a bit slightly. I feel like it should be moving a bit more than that. There's the UI button, right? Well, yeah, no, it really should be moving a bit more than that. It should be closer to the center of the screen when I move it vertically. Okay. Vertically moving it is when it apparently actually wants to adjust. I'm not sure why it's being so sticky. I guess this is just due to how processing is calling this window resized method. And yeah, but as you can see, it's roughly moving around the screen as it's being changed in size, and it's also changing in size based off of stuff. So if I like pseudo full screen this is going to be really big, or if I like scrunch the window really small this way, it's going to be real tiny in there, or I can make it really large this way again. And you can see that there does come a point where it doesn't matter like how much bigger I make it sideways. It, for some reason, stops moving, but no longer grows in size because it has maxed out the resolution. But then I can, make it really. I don't know why vertical movement is also a lot more responsive than horizontal movement. That is kind of weird. I can make it really tiny, and at this point, I don't know what the hell is going on. Okay, it is still there. I don't know what the hell is going on with the window there. But that's kind of what the UI system is designed to be able to do there. So now we'll work on the text box to make it work properly. All right, so we have the base variables here. We'll go back to the slider so I can steal some various things from it, like the constructor. This constructor is probably going to be relatively similar to what we're actually going to end up wanting. I'm noticing an error all of a sudden. All right, because this is a text box and not a slider. That's why. So we save some variables. Oh yeah, ix and iy are the initial x and y coordinates for this thing, so it can use these coordinates later to recalculate its location when it does get resized. The width and height get resized, or the initial width and height also get initialized here. We then create the underlying button that is going to be responsible for detecting clicks on this. We then create the we then actually set the actual current size of this by calculating what the position should be based off the scale and the position of the UI frame on screen. Is this top X and top Y? I believe there's also an UI frame. Yeah, you can get the center or the top coordinates. It doesn't really matter. As long as you stick with one and use it, it should work. Should work. Yeah, then we get... then we also calculate the width and height based off scaling whatever the other underlying variables are. Alright. Alright, there are a few things that we need. Now we need to implement the rescale method, which is... well, it's realistically something that's called internally. This method is in theory never going to be actually called by anything outside of the class, so I could probably make it private realistically. But the purpose of this method is at the very beginning of the draw method, if the current scale from the UI is found to be different from what the last recorded scale was that was used by this class, that will then cause the class to recalculate its size so that it's consistent. And then we do all the rendering stuff. So, of course, a lot of this stuff is just slider specific. We're obviously going to be doing a lot of it different on the text box side of things. So, let's see, percentages. Okay, yeah, a lot of this stuff is. Oh yeah. Of course, we'll need to do stuff like implement mouse clicked and whatnot. We can do. That's in the draw method. Don't want to do that. Alright, let's make this a text box. Return type. This allows you to set the stroke weight because I didn't want to overload this with a ridiculous number of constructors. I don't think mouse dragged is going to be necessary here. Most of this stuff is again slider specific. Set colors. Okay. I may also have to use this to set the text colors. I really should specify the scope of everything in here. Why is the button still complaining? Right, the global variable fill color does not exist. Because we should not have to worry about a fill color or a stroke color here. This is currently just going to act as a way that we can pass stuff into the button. Although, ideally this should also take in a color for the text of the text box. So I will keep that in mind for the future. But for now, I'm going to ignore that as that should not be the most necessary. So, first thing comes first in the rendering of a text box is we are going to draw the underlying button as the kind of background for the text box. I realize I should be creating something to test this. So UI text box, and then we can initialize this. Comma 300, 300, 250, and then I don't think I had. Yep, that's all the things I need. All right. Now I'm thinking about what we're doing here. So, make these floats private. What? Oh, yes, so yeah, so the X and Y values are not used. They will be used, but string contents, which is by default going to be equal to nothing. What we can also get a new one, or a second thing, and call it the placeholder. This is something that should theoretically be configurable, but it's going to be defaulting to text here. I will also make private int text color equals 0 and placeholder color equals, want something that's gray, so just gonna have to specify this in normal Java hex instead of processing hex, because actually when you specify a color like this in processing, when processing goes and turns your PDE files into a single .java file, it'll scan through for anywhere you've done this and convert this into an integer, where if you don't specify the first, or if you don't specify the whole integer, it will automatically assume, I believe, that basically everything before what you've provided is an FF or a full value. So this is an RGB thing here. It will automatically assume the alpha value to be full, solid color, which, to be fair, that's good. But that also means that if you're actually, when you actually convert this to an integer, it'll appear as a negative, because the very first, the most significant bit is obviously a 1, which in integers means it's a negative. Anyhow, FF, we want this to be light gray, so we're going to say like A6, A6, A6. I actually have no clue what that looks like, but that should be an okay placeholder color. All right, so, that's something else. We're going to need the actual inbox text size, and I don't think I'm going to be automatically calculating that for now, at least. I text size. So I text size is going to be equal to like 20 or some shit like that. And then I'm going to say text size equals oh, that's not correct. Times UI dot scale. And then we're just going to repeat this in the rescale method here. There we go. All right, so that should be the UI scaling element of the text, theoretically functional. So we'll go here. We'll go, first of all, if contents is empty, so if there is no text currently, then we'll go fill source or UI dot source. Wait, is that it? No, it's get source, isn't it? It's been a hot second since I've used this get source. That's it. Yeah, so it's gonna be UI dot get source dot fill to the placeholder color, UI dot, so we do that dot text align to dot left tablet dot center. So we set the text line to left center, and UI dot. Probably should just, you know, have that on the clipboard. So UI to get source dot text size. Set that to the internal text size, and then we do that, and then finally get the text in here, which in this current situation will be the placeholder, and then this will be X, Y plus height divided by 2. And then else. So this is the simple part of the render, because remind you, I'm going to try to make it so you can like use arrow keys to move around, move the cursor around inside of the text. Highlighting parts of the text is hopefully going to be something we're working at. And then also, something I didn't mention before, is I want to be able to add copy pasting. I believe I have Java code already that can do copy pasting. I just never have actually properly implemented it in any way that isn't just press button to paste from your clipboard instead of worrying about making a normal text input system. So anyhow, so that is if there is no text. So this is if there is entered text, then instead of doing placeholder color, we'll just go text color. Oh, UI button's giving me problems again, and I don't know why. We'll do that. The align and size is correct, but we then just go for contents. All right, what is your problem? Damn it. I know why I was using the source there. I didn't want to import. Didn't want to have to try to import processing stuff. There was no real reason for me to not do that. I just didn't want to. Value of width is never used. Never yet used. I also forgot about something. So this is going to be a theoretically slightly more destructive system than I think I've used in the past. Or potentially destructive to any program it's being used in. Hopefully, this wouldn't screw anything up, but it could if you're using this specific feature that I'm about to make use of. Only I could... So first of all, let me just implement it. So we draw the button, and then before we draw the text, we UI to get source. Clip. Oh, there's a double dot there. Clip X, Y, width, height. I don't know if there's any way to check what current clip settings are set up. But basically what this does is it limits all further rendering commands to be within the specified window here. So the window which is the specified size for the object. And then we disable it after this so that future things can render outside of where we're rendering. Now, I'm not sure if there's a way to view what the previous clipping content is. If there is, I should definitely go use that so I can reset the clip to what it was. I don't want to go back. So hold up. So I'm not sure where my browser is right now. So hold up. I don't even know if I used clip correctly there. So hold up. Let me go to the reference for processing here. Okay, cool. It did pop up on my other page. Clip. Oh. Boundaries are drawn based on the state of image mode function, either corner, corners, or center. Ah. Ah. Okay, so all this will also break if someone uses a different image mode than the default. But I do not feel too bad for that. Okay, I will just quickly go back to my actual screen here so you can see the nothing that I'm doing, because I'm still looking at a segment monitor here. So what I am thinking is I need to go look into processing source code to see if there is perhaps anything in the source code that could tell me where I could get the values for clip, because I don't want to potentially screw anything over. Potentially. Of course I could, but p-applet clip. Alright, let's go look at the underlying stuff here. I don't really want to show off my browser here right now. Okay. And so I'll just keep this on my second monitor for now. Sorry you can't see what I'm doing. I know it's incredibly rude of me, but, oh. That's incredibly convenient. I don't know what the recorder is. Oh, the same thing as this. Same thing as G, right? No. It's a single letter. Okay, I'm assuming that those are... Alright, let's see. I know, I believe the letter G in the processing stuff here. Yeah, just an instance of whatever renderer you're using. Apparently, recorder is functionally the same thing. Okay, so what clip actually does is based off whatever renderer you're currently using. That complicates things a bunch. Actually, let me see if I assume this is not an interface. Hold up. Can't again see what I'm doing. Okay, cool. This is actually a class. I don't know why I just did that. What I want to do is find if the clip method is actually implemented here. Okay, the base pgraphics class does have clip implemented. Clip implemented is not implemented though, interestingly. It does some calculatings. It then runs the clip implementation, which by default is not implemented in this class. Okay, so basically all the base clip method does for your renderer is it computes the values that it will then send to the actual renderer. So we are using P3D renderer. Would that be under OpenGL? pgraphics 3D. Well, that's at least what we're using in that's at least what my game is using. I don't know if that's necessarily... I mean, I know that's not what this is using, but I don't know if it would be necessarily universal with that. And I probably should stop now. Okay, it's not implemented there. Hold up. pgraphics OpenGL. That is the one I should actually be looking at, as that is the overarching OpenGL one. Alright. Let's see if this has... I mean, this is... okay, the class that I'm now looking into obviously has... clip implementation. What variables does it set? Which is obviously what I was going after here. What variables does the clip method use? Okay, flushes something, enables something. The clip rect array is what it uses. Okay, I think I'm going to... But anyway, yeah, that is the, I guess, where the values would be. And clip rect, it was just declared as a protected int array. So I would need to use reflection to get at that. Piece. Hold up. let me go back to looking at it. Okay, I really should get back to programming, but I have gone on a complete side adventure. Mode equals corner. Okay, I would have to do some subtraction for that, but that's not too bad. What about to be under AWT? Java 2D. Wait, is that what the default renderer is for processing? I forget. Yeah, actually no. Java 2D sounds like the initial renderer. I know there's also a Java FX renderer. Okay, clip implementation. What the fuck is G2? Oh boy. I'm not creating engaging content right now, I understand that. There's some commented out code in here, what? Graphics 2D. Alright, well, I'm not going to go further into that. Theoretically, with using an OpenGL based renderer, it would be relatively trivial to actually acquire what the current clipping settings is, but yeah, I don't think that's going to be what I'm doing right now. So I will just assume that you weren't clipping beforehand. That should probably work. Anyhow. Alright, let's test this. I never told it to be drawn. I created the instance of the text box, but I never told it to draw it, which would be kind of an important component of the text box existing. Okay. Cool. We have a box. It says text here. Life is good. Okay, so next. I guess need to make functionality of it first, right? So. Alright, the functional methods. Actually, there are a few methods that we need to implement. Alright. In theory, these will be all the methods that we'll need to be implementing throughout the course of this. So alright, so typing is the first one. So first of all, in mouse press if button. I'm blanking. If the mouse is over the button, then for now, when it clicks, we will set typing equal to true. Else, typing equals false. Alright. Yeah, that's pretty basic. We should probably indicate in some sort of way that there is typing going on. So if contents is empty and not typing. So yep, that sounds about right. So otherwise, we're going to try to draw contents. And just for now, so that we know this is working, we're going to also temporarily just always render a vertical line after the what the heck are you talking about? Oh, that makes sense. We're also going to render a vertical line. It's useful if we actually tell it to do stuff instead of just assuming that this will automatically happen. That's clicked. Keep key pressed. Void typed. This is kind of one of the downsides to my system here. That you do have to manually call all these methods. Oh, is it mouse press? I'm gonna re-change this to mouse clicked. It is mouse pressed. I'm gonna do mouse clicked because that's technically the same thing, except it's a proper click instead of just the mouse going down. Keep pressed and all right. Now we can get our cursor. I have plans for a proper cursor to be developed later, but for now this will do to let us know that we're typing something here. And then if I click off, text here comes back because there's no contents. Let's get some contents in there then. So we'll write the primitive implementation of actually adding text to this, which is quite simply going to be contents plus equals key. That won't work. UI.getSource.key. That will work. And this does exactly what you think it would do. Also, here's the example of what clipping does. I'm still typing text. It's just going beyond this box. Now, obviously, we do have a problem here. And that being that we are currently not able to delete anything at all. That is a big problem. Also, we can't see what we're typing if we did need to type in something longer than the box. So that also requires a little bit of stuff. So I'll fix that. Can't see what we're typing right now. So I will change this a little bit. So if typing, if we're typing, we will start by copying this. We'll also make it so the cursor is not there anymore when we're not typing. That way it's, you know that you've stopped typing. But then we're going to do something different here. So we're going to need to say, actually, I don't know. Do I need to do this in an if statement? Yes, I do. So if UI.getSource, the text width of contents plus that is greater than width. The conditions, guys, they're starting to grow. So basically, if we are currently typing something, so if we are, if text exists and we are currently typing something, then, and we are currently typing something, and the width of the text that is in the, I guess, box right now is longer than the actual width of the box, this is when we're going to implement the actual scrolling here. So the x minus hold up, float text. This might actually return an integer, but I'm not entirely sure about that. But we'll just do that so that I don't have to recall this method. That makes the code slightly more optimized. So we're just going to subtract whatever the current width of the text is from current. So everything looks normal so far. We can start typing some text. Everything looked normal until we got outside the text box. Damn it! Where'd the text go? Oh, so if I click off it, okay, it's there. I'm now incredibly confused. Where the hell did that text go? Well, let's find out, shall we? forget that I'm not directly inside of processings. We have implemented it. We have redirected this function already for you. So F's are too short. That shouldn't be happening. Thought key typed. Oh, god damn it. I thought key typed was only supposed to... Hold on. Let me look at the reference. Oh, that's not going to work. Reference. Key typed. Let's see. Keep typed function is called once every time a key is pressed, but action keys such as Control, Shift, and Alt are ignored. Because of how operating systems handle key repeats, holding down a key may cause multiple calls to get... Okay. So that's kind of annoying. Apparently, key typed will not go for like when I'm pressing Shift, Control, or Alt, or I guess Windows key for that matter. But backspace is completely fair game for stuff that gets shown in key type. So I'm gonna have to probably filter that one out. What about caps lock? That's fine. Tab. I guess I'll never know if that actually did anything because for some reason in processing, the font doesn't actually render tabs. They're just zero width characters. Anyhow, what about enter? Enter is actually registered as a line feed. That's correct. What about up, down, left, right? Why is just backspace? It's just backspace. We may also wish to do something so that enter doesn't actually become a problem. What about menu button? Menu button's not doing anything. Is backspace the only key I'm gonna have to kind of filter out there? What about like insert, delete? Okay, delete. Backspace and delete. I also want to actually make the delete key functional, so that makes sense. Home, end, page up, page down. Numlock? Okay, so like, it generally works. It filters out a lot of the nonsense keys. The F keys? Yes. It's just like backspace and delete that are like the only keys that it doesn't filter out. I know I need to do stuff with these keys, but still, the fact that it doesn't filter them out is kind of annoying. But hey, I guess because they come through, that means we won't have to, may not actually have to implement anything for key pressed. Actually, no, that's a lie. We will. For like arrow keys and such. We will have to implement key pressed. Right, I was completely forgetting that the whole point of me doing this right now is just to figure out what happens once we outgrow the size of the text box. Okay. Ow. Okay, so it's trying to render at 85. Actually, hold up. Let me just disable clipping. That'll probably... I realize disabling clipping will show me where does it go, and that'll probably give me a much better idea of... Interesting. Interesting. That did not do what I expected that to do. But that is good to know. I'm not entirely sure how to fix this, actually. Because I know what I want it to do. I want it to be like, just start scrolling one character at a time as you put them in. But this goes a little bit too far. It's like one width's too far over. One X too far over. So wait, what am I doing here? I'm X subtracting the text width. Would that fix it? Perhaps? Oh yeah, and this is also, I guess, kind of an example of what clipping does. That's what I need to do. I just need to re-add the width of the actual thing in there. Perfect. Okay, re-enable clipping. That was pretty simple. Alright. So that's let's document this. If the text if the text extends then move the text so you can see all right, that is that. So all right, so I guess in that case the next thing for me to implement is, of course, backspace. And I guess, well, delete will have to come later, as that requires me to actually have the cursor functionality implemented, and I do not have cursor functionality implemented. Actually, hold up. I'm going to go get some water, so I will be right back in a moment. Okay, so someone let the fart winds go in the hallway, and it now smells kind of like shit out there. Does not smell like shit in here, though, so I'm currently protected from that. Anyhow, backspace. So, actually, I'm gonna go... print line. Let's go get key. Oh, I have no idea what the hell just happened there. No idea why I wasn't able to type something there. That was kind of weird. Key code. All right, so that will tell us what in the console down here. Oh, hang on. Did I ever delete that print statement up here? No, I didn't. Let's do that now. All right. So now when I press backspace and delete, key code is 0. Why? I'm now concerned, because I don't think the key code should be 0. If I moved that to here, yeah, here we have a key code for everything, but it's always 0 in key typed. I am now extremely confused. What? Okay, this actually poses a lot more issues, because backspace and delete are put through, but they're not necessarily being sent to their key codes. And actually, hold up, here's something I can do. I could see, what are the integer values that are posed by these things? Okay. Okay, so their equivalent code, which is their integer value, I guess, is being sent along in the character. So that is the character reason. So that's how I'm going to have to that's how I'm gonna have to deal with it. Actually, hold on, let me test something here. Backspace. Are these? Oh, those are chars. Oh, well that, okay, that's actually very useful. All right, so. Okay, the up arrow on my keyboard isn't working. What the hell? That's a little concerning. Will it work in other programs, per se? I am suddenly a little bit concerned. Over to the reference page. Oh, okay. If I spam it enough, it... Okay, it's just working again. No idea what was going on there. Okay. Now, as I was about to do, if... okay, hold up. Char key equals that. That way I don't have to keep retyping that over and over and over again. That also technically is going to be slightly faster of an optimization, as it doesn't have to go to this memory address, then to this memory address to get that memory address. Anyhow, so if key equals a caplet dot backspace, or if key equals, because these will have a different function, or different function. Technically, yes. These things will have a different purpose overall, because actually, if you don't know what actually happens, or what the difference between backspace and deleted is, backspace will delete whatever the thing to, I guess, going from my code here, this side of the character is, and delete deletes the character on that side of the character. So I'm pressing backspace right now, versus now I'm pressing delete. Very handy to know. And I forget about delete often. So, backspace is a little bit of an interesting one, because this, well, they're both interesting. Basically what we're doing is we're going to be shortening the existent content. I'm actually not entirely sure. Will this work? Substring. Oh, was it? Oh, lowercase s. So now this seems like a pretty simple and easy solution. However, there is a slight problem that comes up right about here. You see, once you get to no characters left, you end up getting this sort of an issue. So the way we have to work around this is if length is not equal to 0. So is if the size of this array, technically yes, but if the size of the string is not equal to 0, that is when we can do backspace. So we can dash here. Now it won't crash. Now, obviously, I have to go back and redo this once I implement proper cursor technologies, as first of all, we'll have to detect the cursor's position, move the cursor's position, but also not mess with everything that's on the other side of the cursor. So, that is for now the function. But that is the basic functionality done. Yeah, it's only taken me an hour to get here. Yay me! Now I guess it's time to start implementing that cursor functionality. Oh, so that's great. Now, because the cursor is just something entirely internal to this class, we can make it cursor position. I'm going to just default it to 0. Now, pretty simple is as we add the contents here, we're going to increment the cursor position. And then we also are going to remove this fake cursor kind of thing here, because it's coming to me. Okay, we're removing that because we're going to want to have this cursor rendered in ourselves. So, or rendered in separately ourselves. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to, well, okay, these are now the same, which means that this if typing declaration isn't doing anything right now, but it will do something momentarily. So we're going to render the text there, but then we're going to go. You can hear the football in the background, can't you? Actually, let me know in chat if you can hear the football in the background, as I'm pretty sure you can. That is quite loud. Get source. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to draw a rectangle where the cursor is going to go. So for now, I'm just going to draw this actually in the XY 2 times UI dot get scale. Oh no, it's just scale, right? I think, hold up, let me just scroll up. Yes, dot scale. Then height. Alright, so that for now will, while you're in typing mode, will always just be that bar right at the beginning there. We'll get to the blinkage of that in a minute. I realize that's going to be something I'm going to have to deal with. Then we're going to have to do text width. It's going to be something that we're just, wait, hang on, no. Text width is already a thing in the scope. That's useful. So we're going to have x plus text width. So now that will be, I guess, there. And if I say hi, this bar is big. Those spaces are basically jack shit in there. But there are spaces in there. They're just really freaking hard to see. Hold up, let's go. And there the cursor disappeared because we went outside of the box. And that is the next thing that we gotta do. Is we gotta, well, actually, first of all, I'm gonna not have it be so freaking tall. Also, we can make it so that, let's first of all make it so make the text width not include the actual length of another extra bar. So that looks about right. All right, cool. That's correct. Maybe not make it so tall. So how am I going to do that? Y plus height times, and then height times 0 point times 0.8. All right, let's see if God damn it, processing. You know what I meant. Or I guess another thing that processing, I guess, does for when you're in the normal PDE files, it will automatically take any floating point number that you write out, and if you don't specify that it's a double, it'll default interpret it for you in its compiled.java file as a float, because it's by default a double in Java, which I guess is what I just had to specify there. So, type. All right, that looks much better. Obviously, the text size isn't ideal, but we'll figure that one out a little bit. Bit by bit, yeah. All right, so this is decent enough for displaying the cursor here. Here, I obviously then have to figure out. Maybe I just, instead of putting the text with there, just put the width there. Let's see what that will do. That, of course, puts it a little bit too far outside the clipping zone. Not what I wanted. How are we gonna do this? Maybe I could make the built-in, no, but that's, I'd have to basically make the width, the internal width, be like a character shorter. So, my tissue box just fell down. Do not worry, I have picked it up. Alright, so float internal or max text width equals width minus the text width of a single vertical pipe character. So if the text width is greater than the maximum text width, then instead of using normal width here, we use max text width here. So this will mean that there's like one less character that we may be able to fit on in this sorry little box. But we do get this the cursor thing to stay on there. So don't be a pussy. Okay. All right, so that's cool. But now let's actually get the cursor implemented. So we have it visually being rendered now, and I realize that this does not take anything into account. It just takes the text width here. Okay, new plan. Because I realized I didn't actually implement that correctly. I just made it a vertical bar which will display always at the end of the line of text. We need to have a float cursor offset equals, it's going to be the text width that substring to the cursor position. So instead of being offset with the text width, we are now offset with the cursor offset. And I realize this is going to be fun here in a moment. So instead of, this isn't exactly wrong, but this doesn't at the moment this will work, but this doesn't take into account potential cursor movements that we're going to do. And that's where all this is going to have to change. I'm realizing what's going on now, because the cursor is what's going to effectively govern the scrolling. So it won't end up being the max text width that we're going to violating, or that is going to be violated. It's the cursor position instead of the text position is going to be beyond that. So we may not even need this line in a moment. Anyhow, as I was about to say, don't know why that took so many clicks. F, of course, it's 0. Always 0. Did I ever add it? What? I'm confused. Why is this not doing anything? I mean, I have a way I could maybe make it work if it's not doing what I expected it to. Okay, it's not. It's also not printing anything out. Wait, what? How is this not even running? It doesn't make sense. This is in the draw function. It's getting, like, the cursor is being rendered, right? The cursor is being rendered. It should be, all right, there it is. If I specify 0 to start with. All right, that is working better. Okay. All right, that works. I have no freaking clue what's happening, but now we can't backspace because we're not decreasing the cursor position. We're only increasing it every time we add a character. So we'll just simply come up here to any time we decrease it and subtract the current position. And I will do the same for delete. Actually, no, I won't. I will implement delete momentarily once we have the cursor moving around. So, good. It worked. Cursor position is now able to move. Actually, let me just test another thing here quickly. So we go all the way up. Where the fuck is the cursor? I just remembered something. We are just always, anytime this method is being called, which is anytime a key is pressed, we're doing stuff. We're not ever actually checking whether typing is, we're supposed to actually be doing anything. So I will now make sure that we are being a bit safer here and not just always listening to the keyboard. Well, it's only listening to the keyboard while the sketch is active, obviously. I'm gonna implement this into key pressed right now, just so that we don't do stuff that we're not intending to do. All right, that is working. Now we can get the actual cursor position stuff going. This is where I'm going to need to reprint the key plus the key code at the same time, because I'm going to need to know what's up, down, left, right. They're all question marks because they don't actually have key codes. I realize I should see what is what is the value of applet.up? If it's question mark, no, it's just a number, so we use key code. All right, that is good to know. So int key code is equal to key code. All right, so that's first of all. So then if key code is equal to the left, which I believe is the left arrow, we're going to blindly decrease the value of the location of the cursor, which is clearly a bad idea, and I know it. Which is why I'm just going to do it to validate the fact that I'm going in the right directions and pressing the right keys. All right, let's test this. Okay, it looks like the cursor's working pretty well right now, but you see there is just a little issue once we get right to the end, and it's that. Just quite simply because we are never bounds checking this. And cursor position is less than or equal to? No, less than the length of the string, or, and for decreasing, it's also greater than, simply as long as that is not 0, you should be fine. So, can't crash it by going over that way. Not crashing it by going over that way, that's good. Now what happens once I get the cursor there? It doesn't budge, because we have not properly implemented this, have we? Oh, it's really like not budging at all. Oh, fuck. Well, that's another thing. We haven't implemented backspace to properly pull from that. So here's the thing. This shouldn't be dealing with where what the text width is. This should be dealing with the cursor offset. In fact, I don't think text width as a variable is actually necessary, because we should just be using cursor offset for all the things, because the cursor will generally be at the end of the text, but if it's not, we also want to be where the cursor is. So we'll do this. It goes like that, right? Okay, cool. And it does actually move itself backwards through the text. And once the cursor's position gets into the final area of the text box, it can move around inside. Perfect. Now, functionality of the cursor. It's going to be a lot trickier because we're doing a little more than simply these simple operations that we're doing here. We now have to take the cursor's location into account when we're doing stuff, so we cannot just simply append whatever the current key is to the end of the current string. We need to split the current string into two strings. One that is before the position of the cursor, and the other which is after the position of the current cursor. And then we need to append the actual pressed character in the middle of those two. Now, I will quickly, before we do this, I will actually make two quick things. So if cursor pos is equal to the content length, then we just do it the way that we've been doing it, as that is the most efficient way to do it at that point. It also saves me error headaches. Else, if the cursor pos is at the very beginning of it, so we're appending to the very start, then we say contents equals key plus contents, which in this case is just is effectively very similar to this, except instead of appending the key directly to whatever the value of key is directly at the end, we technically are appending contents to whatever the value of key is. So it goes key, then your contents. So that's 0. And then the final condition, so let's just make this, comment this, if at the end of the, or if the cursor is at the end of the contents, if is at the start of, and then this is in the middle of this. All right. So if the cursor is in the middle of the contents, that means we have to do some fuckery with this. So contents is equal to contents.substring of 0 to cursor position plus key plus contents.substring cursor position to contents.length. This should allow us to be inserting anywhere into the string, do the very simple and optimized operations if we're inserting to the end or beginning of the string. But if we're inserting anywhere in the middle of the string, should theoretically insert correctly. So, all right, click on the text box. Okay, this is working good so far. All right, and I want capitals. All right. So here's our current text currently. So first of all, let's try inserting all the way at the beginning. Let's insert an L and apparently a question mark at the same time. Can't backspace anything currently. Yes, that's not implemented yet. Both of those look to work correctly, actually. So let's go right in between the 8 and the 9 and insert the letter K and another one and a J and an H, and this is all working correctly. Let's go. All right, that is good. But now we still have the problem with backspace where we're not deleting from any of this. We're in fact deleting from the end, as that's yet to be implemented. So once again, we are going to come up here. Instead of first of all checking if the length of the content is 0, we're instead going to check if the cursor position is not equal to 0 before we actually do something, as that's what we should actually be checking for, because the content doesn't really matter as long as the location of the cursor, which we're going to assume is always going to be bounded within the content, is equal to 0. Then as long as that's not at the very beginning, we should be able to functionally backspace. Now this no longer works. We are going to be, because this will only subtract from the end, but it is pretty close actually to what we need to do. So instead of being 0 to content.length minus 1, we're going to go 0 to cursor position minus 1 plus cursor position to contents.length. I believe that is the I believe that's the correct implementation. So let's first of all, backspacing at the end works. Backspacing in the middle works. Doesn't crash when we try to backspace at the very end. This is technically full text editing now. We are now fully editing the text. So now let's implement delete, which is broadly similar. No, let's just collapse some of this white space here. So it's broadly similar to how backspace works. except it's going to be removing from the other side of the text instead of the front side of the text. So first of all, instead of checking if the cursor pos is not equal to 0, we now need to check if the cursor pos is not equal to contents.length. Because being at the end is now what's going to kill us, not being at the beginning. So, and actually this is quite simple modification. So instead of being 0 to current pos to 1 less than the current position, we go 0 to the current position, and then our next substring is current position plus 1 to the very end, which should theoretically do it. So first of all, we didn't crash. That's good. Okay, so like, hello there. I didn't mean, okay. Backspace is still work, T-H-E. All right. Okay, so now I've spelt that, but I don't want to. I didn't mean to press the W, so let's go back. I could backspace this, but we're gonna try to delete it, which did not work. But no, it did. Oh, but we also decreased the cursor position, which we do not need to do if we are. Yes, we do not need to decrease the position of the cursor if we are deleting, only backspacing. Yes, this is going really well. All right, so that is a great deal of textual control there, actually, with the cursor. We should now make the cursor blink. So, hold on, I'm going to go to the referencer, because I actually don't know what the speed at which a cursor. Wait, did I actually close my browser? Okay, I did. Oh, that's fun. Let's go ask an AI how fast how fast does the cursor on a computer usually blink? Because I want to try matching that. Let's see, how fast does a text? Okay, there's definitely a bracket in the middle of the word computer, yes. All right, let's see what it says. Typically, blink rate of a text cursor on a computer can vary, but most commonly falls within the range of 500 to 700 milliseconds. This means the cursor disappears and reappears every 0.5 to 0.7 seconds. However, there are several factors that influence blah, 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 operating system, application, and user settings. All right. All right, so every 500 to 700 milliseconds, I'd say we go for 500 milliseconds. Okay, pretty simple way to do this. Do a local variable inside the draw function here. So once we have established the clip, we're going to say, actually no, we're only going to do this if we actually need to render the cursor, which would be in here, in the typing block, right? No, wait. Oh, let me just label this stuff so I know what the cursor is. So either of these, which is going to be inside this typing block, yes. We'll replace this unused text with variable with a Boolean show. No, actually. Yes, no. Yes, I'll do it here for now. Equals UI.getSource .mil millis, get the current milliseconds, modulo that by 500, and if that is greater than 250, you are true. So then we just do if show cursor, do that, and if show cursor, do that. All right, let's see what this looks like now. That's a little bit fast. That's a little bit fast for my taste. So this is actually, we can compare this quite easily. Yeah, that's much slower in processing here. So that's pretty simple to change though. So let's go to the upper edge of that 700, and that would be 350, the half of that. So we just 100 more. Now how fast does it blink? That's still quite fast. Unless the AI meant that it waits, that it's 500 to 700 milliseconds between when it turns on and then turns off, and then it waits 500 milliseconds, turns off, 500 milliseconds, turns on. If that's the case, that does look better. Okay, that does actually look better. So 1 full cycle per second, I guess. All right, I think that's good for what the cursor looks like here. One thing about a real cursor though is that while you're moving it around, it's not blinking. Not blinking. Do I want to bother implementing that? Because that would be really painful to also add in a factor here. It was like, haha, well, once you moved it, we're going to add some sort of thing to this. It was like, that's when it lasts. I'm not going that far. It can blink as, it can be turned off while you're moving it. Just be smart about it, I guess. Okay. So that's text insertion and deletion while you have a cursor in there. So you've been streaming for 1 hour, 35 minutes. All right, let's see. All right, there's a few things that we need to left out I want to do. I want to make it so when you click in the text box, it'll try moving the cursor to wherever you clicked, if possible. And that one's actually going to be quite complicated. And then there's the further slightly complicated one of highlights. Highlighting, there are 2 ways you can highlight text on a computer. The first way is obviously click and drag. That one's probably going to be the hardest method. So I don't know if I'm actually going to implement highlighting now that I think about it. But if I want to implement the thing after that, which is copy pasting, I might as well implement highlighting. So we can do the copy part of that. Oh yeah, the other method for highlighting something is holding shift and then using the arrow keys. That's going to be the... Actually, no, I think I'm not going to do the whole use your mouse thing because Minecraft doesn't do that with their text boxes. I'll just rely on the fact that you have to use shift to do that. So, first things first, however, make the actual clicking of your mouse in the text box. Try to get that as the exact location where the text is going to be. So that's going to be here. So, if we go typing equals stream. All right, so float rel mouse pos. The relative mouse position equals. Let's get source here. Mouse x minus x. So that's the relative mouse position, and that's really all that we're going to need, right? So we are going to need to do a couple things. So we're going to need to set the text size here, because we don't know what the text size is going to have been previously. And then contents length. So we're going to iterate over each character in the thing, and we're going to say if this except instead of curpos, we're going to go I. So if that is greater than the relative mouse position, then we're going to set the cursor position equal to I, then break. Actually, I forget, can you put a finally block on a for loop? I don't remember if this runs always, or if this only runs. Yeah, there's an error up here. This is saying you don't finally. Yep. Okay, finally is not allowed on a for loop. Okay, I think Python has a thing where finally you can run finally on a for loop. Oh, okay. I just thought of the simpler way to achieve what I want. Okay, it simply equals the length otherwise. So it's equal to the length, but if you do get to the point where it's larger, then we'll just put that in there. And this is the most simple version, but mind you, this only works if the stuff doesn't eclipse the length of the box. And it also doesn't take into account what the current cursor position is for shift, which is actually going to be a problem. So, first of all, so clicking here at the end doesn't do anything, but clicking here, or here, or here, or here, I'm decisively clicking on that G, but okay. I -1. Will this feel more natural? Greater than or equal to. We'll try that one. I don't know. This is more or less just like a how does this sort of stuff feel, right? And of course it works because it's the actual cursor box. But now the problem is that once I get beyond the length of that text box, it's always going to snap right back to the actual text box. So now what do I do actually? This is actually going to be complicated as we're forcefully overwriting everything we possibly could be using to determine, or at least probably not everything, but most things that we could have been using previously to determine if the cursor position was already valid, which I'm realizing we can just say typing is true at the very end of this. That way, all right, so we do that, okay. So if we are already, if typing is already true, we're gonna have some other conditions in there because obviously that for loop is gonna need to run anyway. Oh. So the loop that's going to happen otherwise, so first of all, let's figure out the conditions. So if the so it's gonna have to be this. So if we are already typing and the cursor offset is that, which means we're gonna have to copy both of these in. Theoretically, these will just, as long as we set the text size, these should be fine. All right, so if we're typing and this is the case, then this for loop is going to need to be a bit different. So it's gonna have to be this text width minus yes, the max text width. So and theoretically, once we're at that limit, you're clicking on this, you should always be able to find something. So let's test this, I guess. Okay, that's still working great. Once we go back to there, let's see the GF there. Hey, okay, hold up. I gotta. Hey, that. Oh, right. I'm in a P2D. I'm not on the OpenGL render. That's why that was working. Sorry. I was like, wait, that actually worked? Oh, wait, no. I'm not on OpenGL, so. Alright, there's basically all the correct letters on the keyboard there. Now, if I click right in between the J and the K, we did not get moved in between the J and the K. Fuck. I need to do this whole thing. Minor. Okay, hold on. Let's try the text with, instead of doing that, minus the cursor offset entirely, and then add on. Oh, right. This is also. Next text width is there. Okay, these are also just relative. Okay, just making sure. All right, so. Okay. Okay, the T and the S are wrong or whatever. All that matters is that I'm scrolled over. I'm going to click right in between the N and the O here, and that worked. Cool. Once again, right in between E and F. Good enough! You can adjust from there. Maybe my algorithm is and then, of course, once we're back here, this is all working fine. I can't exactly select things that are, like, over the edge. They'll have to manually, I guess, use the arrow keys to go to the side. But I think that's going to be fine. Okay, I am going to... Before we continue, I am going to quickly go take a bathroom break, so I will be right back in a moment. Alright then. Let's see. We got that mouse-based cursor positioning done. Highlighting. Now this is the difficult one. So in order to do highlighting, I'm going to need highlight start. H I highlight. Just rename this. Okay, so highlight end. All right, so we're gonna need that, and we're also going to need. I don't know if that's at all how any of this is actually spelled, but hopefully it is. All right, so highlighting, it's false. All right, so if highlighting is taking place, we're gonna have to do something. Which is, okay, I guess we'll work that one out first then. All right, so if highlighting, draw here, we're going to have to draw a highlight rectangle, and I'm realizing now, highlight color. And for once, we're actually going to make use of this alpha value here. So we're going to do it mostly transparent. So I'm going to say 8 0 0 0 12 FF. I actually have no idea what color that is. Hold up, let me check. 0 0 12 FF. Let's make that a much brighter blue. D7 is what we should be using there. All right. Cool. Glad I checked that, because that would have been a weird highlight color. All right. So I'm gonna say once all of this typing shenanigans, it's definitely gonna be in typing here. Whether or not we've moved over or not, I guess it matters. Dang it. Hoping, oh, it won't matter. It's gonna matter. Thankfully we can do this after. Can do this all after that. So we're going to say if highlighting, we're going to then take a rectangle. Actually, no, we're gonna fill with the highlighting color. So we get filled to the highlight color. Then we need to draw a rectangle. Now this rectangle. So we're currently in the default case right now where we haven't exceeded box limits. So X plus the text width for highlight start and it's going to be the same height as the cursor, so y plus height times fraction of a float. Then the width is going to be a little bit similar to this, except we're going to go from highlight start to highlight end, whatever those values are. And then the height is going to be the same as the cursor's height for now. That's pretty simple for when we haven't shifted anything over. But then again, the problem does come once we do shift things over. When we do shift things over, that means we're going to have to offset the X value. So X plus that, and actually we should be able to use the same offset that we have here for the X here. So minus cursor offset plus the maximum text width. So blah, 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 blah. Nope. Didn't. All right. We just have to include an extra bit of offsetting there. Wow. And I also didn't put in the highlighting check. Wow. Okay. All right. Just gonna include an extra little break there. All right. So now, once we do have highlighting implemented, that should be all we need to do. Or so that should be the rendering of it done. Now to implement it. So a first basic rule of thumb. Actually, I guess I should. Ooh, something's gone wrong up here. Fill int doesn't. Oh, damn it. That makes sense. So used to just programming on the base processing KDE files that so basically within the Paplet class extension. That I often forget that when I'm working in a clean.java file, I need to, of course, need to do a reference. Really? Okay, what still is? It's an extra token. Oh yeah, there's an extra comma in there. Look at that. Probably in both of them then. No, there's not. What? Okay, I guess I just made an extra comma there. What? Ooh. I don't know where I forgot a parenthesis. What does that go to? Well, that's just for the text width at the end. Wait, what? Oh. Is this now correct? No, that is not. Is that now correct? Yes, that is correct. Okay, I gotta make sure that I'm correctly canceling all my text widths. Okay, good. Now we shouldn't notice any sort of difference or anything like that. Good, 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 good. All right. Now we can actually get this sort of highlight stuff. So the first thing is we need to record whether shift is pressed. So it is not used. I stroke and stroke can go. So yeah, I guess I'm never using them. What? Oh. Right, because we were trying to assign it somewhere. Right, the set stroke method, which is all the way down at the bottom here. Or set colors? Or set stroke weight. Oh, that's what that was. Yeah, no, we just pass that on to the button as we don't do anything with that here. Good, okay. Oh, what's the issue? Where? Delete. Good? Good. Okay. Great. I know what we were trying to do. Sorry, I got distracted there. So, shift pressed. Okay, and just to be a little bit more complete here, we're going to make sure that if typing is set to false because we clicked off, then shift press is also being set to false for completeness. Because if you're holding shift and you click off it, it will continue to think shift is pressed until you click on again, press, and then release shift. We also need another void key RL. We're also going to need this. Actually, now I need to figure out what is the key for shift. Oop, oop. I have no idea what's going on. Paplet dot shift. All right. What? Oh, right. It's an ID. Okay, cool. So, we're going to use key code. So then if key code equals applet shift, then shift, then we set shift pressed, then we set shift pressed to true or false dependent on its location, or where it was pressed or not. All right, so then with the left and right arrows, if we're going to need to do a little bit of logic here. So if shift is pressed, we're going to need to do highlighting stuff. But if shift isn't pressed, we're going to need to make sure to turn highlight off. So if shift pressed, else. So if shift is not pressed, then we're going to set highlighting to false. Basically any key press that happens when you're highlighting disables highlighting. Oh, that was also in the wrong location. But when shift is pressed, then we're going to need to do logic in order to, okay, I'm going to just copy this down here. So I'm going to decrease the cursor position. Maybe. And I really, actually no, you are. You will always basically decrease the cursor position. But if, so if not highlighting, we're going to, okay, the direction you go with this, it really matters. We're going to set highlight start and end here. So if you're not highlighting, well, I guess first step is highlight. Well, okay, first thing is do that. So then the start is going to be equal to whatever the current cursor position is. And then the end key pressed is going to be equal to the previous location at which the cursor was in. Mind you, this won't really work too well if we're at the end. Or if we're all the way at the very end. No, this will work. I'm done. Anyhow. Then, but if you were already highlighting, then highlight start is going to be equal to whatever the current cursor. Nope, that won't work. That'll work if you're continuing to go. Okay, so anyhow, so if highlight start is equal to cursor position +1, then, so this means you're going in the correct direction. Highlight start is going to be equaling to cursor plus. So if the very start of your highlighting is equal to, so if the start is equal to basically the leftmost edge, then we can just move it to the left, move the start to the left. Otherwise, highlight end is going to be equal to the cursor position, as you're shrinking the cursor from going the other way. Whew. That was a little bit complex. I think this is going to work. Let's test it. So let's go text. Moving left and right is fine. We shift. Interesting color. That will theoretically be shrinking it. But that is doing correctly what I needed it to do. I know what's going on. I've never told it what the key released is, or never implemented it going in key released. So it didn't know anything about the key being released. That's what the problem was. All right, back to work. All right, the next thing I need to do is basically copy this entire mess of a highlighting code here over to, all right, no, we need to do just the stuff inside of yes shift was pressed. That's what we need to copy over. All right, so instead, highlight, it's going to be -1 there and exactly there. So we're going to change this to -1. Then, is that correct, or did I do this wrong? I need to swap highlight start and end here. Okay. I wonder what the actual code for highlighting with the cursor in like real programs actually looks like. Does it look anything like this? No idea. No idea whatsoever. So, and then do that. Did not work going the other way. See, does it work going its way at all? So we go back to here. Okay, so it just doesn't work. Oh, that's why. There we go. All right, cool. Highlighting's not working, however, not completely. So now I have to integrate that into the typing algorithm. So first of all, we need to do the check for shift pressed. So if we're typing, we go through there, and then we need to do some checks here. Backspace will need to be privy to this stuff, but we need to, wait, if shift is pressed, actually no, it doesn't matter if shift is pressed. What matters if we're highlighting, which can be handled on a case-by-case basis. But importantly, highlighting will end up getting turned off. So okay, so first thing, actually, we're going to just say if highlighting and or so if we're highlighting and the key press was either backspace or delete, then they're going to function exactly the same here. Highlighting equals false. Then cursor pause is going to be equal to highlighting start and contents is going to be equal to contents.substring from 0 to highlight start plus, and also highlight end to the end. Actually, this is just generally what should happen if you're highlighting. We'll have other modifier keys that actually have to do shit, but it doesn't necessarily matter if you're pressing backspace or delete. Those are just the two keys that don't have any other real effect. So I'm going to cut that out here because this is just, if you're highlighting, this is just what happens. You delete everything that was being highlighted. If we'll have other cases that come up above, and then if that, and then if the key was either of those things, then we return, because your job is done. Besides that, you will obviously need to keep going to insert whatever character, or if you were pressing like Control V, or yeah, if you were pasting with Control V, you would also need to paste or add in the content that you just pasted. But again, this doesn't really change. The only time this won't run is copy Control C. So that will be an interesting one. Actually, let's see if this works now. So this should be mostly the implementation for highlighting. So it should go from J to H. If I wanted to replace that with, say, a bracket, I can do so. Yay, highlighting's working properly. Of course, backspace, delete, it does not matter. They're both working fundamentally the same here. Alright. Oh, man, I've been doing this for over 2 hours. Damn. I'm gonna keep going, though, because I'm kind of having fun here. Alright. Speaking of copy-pasting. Yeah, I think we're on to copy-pasting. After that, I think we're mostly done with the functionality. Hello there, Mr. Scene, I think that is, with a skull and then another emoji. I am currently in the process of making a text box object here that can handle typing like a normal human would expect a text box to. So you can like highlight, delete stuff, move the cursor around, all that sort of stuff. Sean, okay. Thank you for correcting me. But yeah, so because I've never done anything like that before. All my previous text input stuff has always just been this weird hodgepodge of allowed characters, and so this is a much more professional-ish system, and I'm about to go through the process of adding copy-pasting into it. So first things first, key pressed. I'm going to need, I'm guessing control, yep, control is a constant, so gonna need to have another boolean up here. Control pressed, control pressed. So then in key pressed here, if key code is equal to pa output dot control, I'm assuming that control will be similar to shift in how it's detected, because that would make sense. And most of the stuff around here in this API generally makes sense. So it would be weird if that wasn't the case, though. And then, of course, when you click off of the actual box itself, it's going to reset control pressed, just for most completeness sake, because I know it will get very confusing otherwise. So then if we're typing, we get the key. All right, so then we're going to separately check if control pressed. It will generally end up returning after if control is pressed, because for most control keys, you probably don't want anything to actually get typed when you're pressing control down. That is, of course, the one exception being pasting. But first we're going to do copy. So, control press, if key is equal to the lowercase c, or key is equal to the uppercase c, because that is a distinction you have to make. It is a case sensitive thing. We're going to copy. And I just realized I'm not actually prepared. I haven't brought up the copy pasting code yet. Anyhow, the first thing we have to check is if we are highlighting, because that's the only time we're actually going to do something when Control C is happening. Because if we're not highlighting, then what exactly are we copy pasting? Who knows? Well, actually, I wouldn't want to copy a blank string to the keyboard. So actually, I'm going to have to go to my Facecam here while I root around on my file system here for the copy paste code, because that is not the simplest of things to do in Java. Let's see, was it just called a thing called copy paste by chance? Oh, it's in something called clipboard. That is also a good way of doing that. Okay, I can go back to the main screen now. All right. So, I have no idea why I'm using the 3D renderer on this, but I am. Wait, does the clipboard require the 3D renderer or something like that? Let me see. Oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. Oh, this only has getting objects from the clipboard. Wasn't there also, I could have sworn you could also, okay, well, I'm going to come down here and copy paste in here all the clipboard, all the relevant clipboard, or all the code from my other clipboard thing there. I'm gonna make this private and this private as well. Obviously, we don't want to do all this printing stuff. We're going to, in fact, collapse this catch block and also this one. And, well, there's a lot of collapsing that I can do here. Of course, there's all these checked exceptions that we need to catch here, apparently. Okay, I also will just be straight up forward. I copied this code from somewhere. Where? I do not remember at all. I don't think, I didn't, like, write down the link to it somewhere. Yes, this is stuff. Okay, so this is a private object, get from clipboard, includes the data flavor here. It gets the system clipboard, it gets the contents for whatever null is, it creates an object, as long as contents exists, it and the data flavor is supported, it gets the data out of it. Of course, we got a couple catched exceptions here, which we just kind of ignore. Then we return the object, which could theoretically be equal to null if this if statement fails. So this is going to be the pasting operation anyway. I got to figure out how do I transform this for the applied to clipboard, because I've done that actually. I'm pretty sure have I? Hold up. Yeah, no, I have. I have just pasted to the clip. Okay, I gotta find that code then. I think I know where I can get that though. So hold up, let's see. Object clipboard content, or clipboard raw content is going to be that. And then obviously we're gonna make that, but if that equals null, then we're going to simply return an empty string, as I don't want to deal with null being involved. All right. And I think that's that. So that would be that. And now I have to go and figure out, is this thing that I need in here? Crap, it's not. All right, so back to the main camera. Oh, frick, just knocked my tissue box over again. Great timing as well. All right, I'll need to go. One will have both operations in it though. All right, move that over here. Oh, I need to do some imports. Oh, okay. That I can do. I wasn't thinking about that, but yeah. These clipboard and transferable objects don't exist by default. Yeah, here. What operator equals undefined for arguments with type Boolean char? Wait, what? Where? Hold up. So where is it getting that? Oh, I'm suddenly confused. Where is it getting that? Ah, I didn't put the OR operator in there. That's important. All right. Set clipboard. That's what I need. So we have, okay, get text from clipboard here, and let's go private as this as well. Set clipboard, which does similar stuff to here, it's just a little bit simpler. It gets the system clipboard like here. It then turns the text we have into a string selection, and then it just sets the contents on the clipboard. That's pretty simple, actually. Much simpler than the reading the clipboard part. Anyhow, so now that we have this set clipboard contents, we can simply go, where is it? Right here. If we're highlighting, we can simply set clipboard contents to the contents.substring of highlight start to highlight end. Ooh, okay, excuse me for that burp. All right. What? Oh, I do in fact need another one of these. So let's see how this does here. Clip me, Mr. Board. I guess I could do that, and we're just gonna see if lip me. All right, pressing Control down, pressing the C button down. Did that work? No. I should probably make it say something when it does this whole thing. Let's go. Into clipboard. Yeah, this is just a debug message for now. What? Oh. Held shift for a little bit too long there. All right. Press down Control and then press C. Yeah, I did see that. Now, Am I in any way getting any output from here? So let's actually see what's actually coming down the pipeline right now. So just going to print out all the keys as I press them. Oh, what in fact is that? That is not the letter C at all. I was not expecting that. Three. What is ASCII number 3? So I will reference ASCIItable.com. Let's see. End of text. Why in the world is it giving me an end of text character when I press Control C? What other characters do I get now that I think about it? Just in general, what other characters do I get? Do I get like a control? When I press Control V, I get character number 22, which is synchronous idle. X gives me 24, which is cancel. This is incredibly confusing. I was not expecting that. What about Control A? Literally just 1, which is start of heading. I'm looking at an ASCII table here on the side to determine these things. What about Control K? 11. Vertical tab. O, which is 15. Wait, is B number 2? Oh gosh. Okay, so what's Control 1? Literally does not come through. So like, okay, interesting. So when Control is being held down, keys are reported as the numerical equivalent to their position in the alphabet. That is interesting. Interesting. So wait, hang on. So what is line feed? Line feed is number 10, which is J. Huh. Interesting. Very interesting. Let's see. What's 26? We'll go to 26, which is substitute. Yeah, I think the only really interesting character within the the only interesting character within the first 26 is probably line feed, which is of course Control J. I guess tab, but tab doesn't really render for anything in processing, which is 9, which is I. Oh, tabs do render down there. Interesting. So I will hold out for the hope that C might be valid on some platforms. It's probably difficult, but wait, hold up. It's set the text box value to a variable. Then when you click Control C, update the text variable. Then make it copy the variable text to the text box. I mean, okay, that's kind of what it's doing. The issue isn't really that I'm not able to do that other stuff. The issue is that when I hold down Control and press C, it doesn't come through as the fact that I'm pressing C. It comes through as if I'm pressing whatever ASCII character number 3 is, which is end of text character. Which is interesting. So apparently, holding the Control key down and then pressing any letter button will make it come through as the character ID for whatever number in the alphabet the letter you pressed is, and then I don't think it'll come through for any non... Okay, that's not entirely true. Okay. It comes through from... It doesn't come through for most non-ASCII character, or, yeah, most non-tech letter characters. Apparently the brackets are fair game. And so is the pipe button. This is interesting. And I did not expect any of this. I'm just going to start pressing random keys. Okay, delete 127. 127. Which is actually delete. Okay, delete comes through as normal. Maybe it's that for Control-Alt-Delete sequences. I'm not entirely sure. Home, end, page up, page down. Of course, the function keys don't come through. Print screen doesn't do anything. Ah! Scroll lock also comes through as the equivalent to C. Interesting. What about pause break? Pause break also comes through as C, as Control C. Numlock? No, that doesn't come through as anything. Arrow keys. Oh, all right. Those are just being detected as normal. Wait, are those? Hold on. Okay, interesting. Apparently, scroll lock and pause break both, when holding Control, pressing scroll lock or pause break, both come through the exact same as if you pressed C while holding down Control. Interesting. Well, considering this is all I got to go on, I will just add a thing here where or key is equal to the char of 3. So now if I go back here, I Control C that, now it's copied from the clipboard, and we can see, oh, I was actually taking screenshots of my screen when I was printing, when I pressed print screen, or whatever. That's interesting. But yes, the space goes H was in fact what I had copied. All right. I'm gonna make a note about this. Or ELP. Position in the alphabet. That is interesting, to say the least, for how that comes through. Well, now that we got copy done, oh, that's another one I can do. Control A. That's actually going to be really simple. If how would shifting? Okay. No, I'm gonna. Okay, so if key equals a lowercase a, I'm just doing this in case. Actually, specifically, I'm still including these keys themselves, just in case on like Linux or Mac OS or something, it doesn't report the keys in this manner, because that is something that I would absolutely believe would happen from my experience. So if we're going to do all, we're going to say highlighting equals true. Highlighting end equals what is it? Contents dot length highlight start equals 0, and the cursor position is also going to be equal to contents length. All right, let's try this now. Perfect. Control A works. I kind of expected it to, but let's make it so it stops printing out what's going on with the keys every single frame. All right, or every single time it's pressed. So then for return here, or for pasting. Pasting is the next part, which is going to be a tad bit interesting, as it has to then do this highlighting behavior here. So actually, yeah. So if key is equal to V or uppercase V, or oh, I wish I could just do that. That's a little bit too shorthand there for Java's taste. Or key is equal to the char of A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V. 22. Oh yeah, that makes sense. 22, which was, of course, the synchronized idle character. Then, then do this thing, else we return. So basically, don't return if the key pressed is V. So we're going to have a Boolean up here. Which is pasting, which is by default just going to be false. But that is going to be set to true. So pasting is going to be equal to true. And then we're going to go down through this content here. But then it's technically possible. I don't know if it's technically possible for anything else. But if pasting, which is what we get from the control V up above. So it's first of all going through this. If we're highlighting, then we're deleting everything that's currently highlighted. Then string paste tense is going to be get text from clipboard. That's a little bit extra there. All right, so then we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna say, oh, it's gonna have to be very similar to this. Just a lot more. So this is gonna return once it gets there. So current pos plus equals the so we're just going to substitute key here in for paste tense, basically. And that should be that. So it's either going to put it at the beginning, paste it in the middle, or put it at the end. So what is currently on the clipboard? Paste tense. Perfect. All right. Right. Method, not field. All right. So first of all, let's just try Control V. Yay! It works when there's nothing there. All right. Then we could paste again. Yes. Gonna delete a lot of stuff. Put some stuff in the middle. That would be nice, but I'm not going to implement that at the moment. And specifically what I'm referring to there is hold control and then press arrow buttons to jump entire words. I don't want to do that because I don't want to figure out, okay, where is the nearest word to the cursor in this direction? Because that would be annoying. Do I only go for spaces, or do I count commas and periods as other things? I'm not going to bother with that right now. Anyhow, paste in front, really cool, and paste, paste, tense, tense. Great. Oh, right, and then of course I expect this to work, but but I have to test it anyway, right in the middle. Whew. Right. I do have another thing I need to add, drat. It's getting to be me streaming quite long, but I do need to, well, okay, there's a few things I need to do. First of all, being able to set the text size manually. So I will actually quickly do that. So public UI text box, set text size. And if you're wondering why I'm specifically having this return, it's specifically return itself here. It's so that you can chain this on a constructor. Chain this onto the end of a constructor so it's in the same line as your declaration without having to actually put it into a line of code or anything like that. Or split it onto multiple lines. It's just an efficiency thing. So we're gonna then set I text size here. So I text size equals size, and text size equals size times UI dot scale. There we go. Oh, that's that. All right. So being able to set the text size, text color, and that sort of stuff. I think I could change that later. The only thing that I think. Oh, right, set placeholder. Pretty simple. Public UI text box, set placeholder, string text, text. We'll continue with this. Public text box set text, or set contents, because sometimes that is actually just necessary. Or sometimes you'll need to like pre-fill the box or whatever. Oh, right, I'm under stuff where I can get this for copy pasting. Of course, it's no use if you can't get it. Get the contents is. So public string get yes. So just return the contents, and then yeah, we'll just for completeness, we're not going to make these things a void. Clear cunt is. This I'm also going to have to set cursor pos equal to 0 there. So pos. All right. That should be most of the additional functionality of the. Oh god. All right, there we go. That should be most of the additional functionality of this existing, apart from one thing. I do want to add an allowed character list, or the ability for you to set an allowed character list, in case for whatever reason you don't want, you only want the text box to accept like numbers, for instance. It may be advisable that you have like a list of characters that are that are allowed to be entered. Do I want to? Okay. So allow list equals. For now, it's just going to be an empty string. Use allow list. I realize that doing this, public UI text box set allow list, taking a string for the list, and then allow list equals list, return this, and then public UI text box use it's going to be named exactly the same as the variable. So this is just in case, basically that's just in case you wanted to turn use allow list off, or you wanted to turn it off after you'd enabled it. You use this, or if you wanted to be able to toggle it on and off. All right, so that's just one thing. So then we can come down to, or go up, I guess. So if, and it'll be on you, I guess, to remember whether or not you have the allow list turned on. So besides the pasting situation, which I will deal with momentarily, I'm going to say if use allow list, then we're going to have to check if allow list dot contains. I'm assuming that a string has the contains method in it. So, or if the allow list does not contain what the key that's pressed, then we simply return at this point. It's a little bit different up here on the pasting section. When you are pasting, we do have paste tense. So what we're going to do is if use allow list, we're going to apply this to pasting. We're going to go for int I. Okay, well hold on. We have string source tense equals paste tense. I is less than source tense dot length. Oh, that's a method. Source tense or I plus plus, and then we're all gonna have also gonna say then paste tense is going to equal to a blank array. So basically, I should be using a string builder for this. Actually, not. So string builder sb equals new string builder. All right. So then if allow list contains source tense. No, actually, that's not necessary. It's not necessary to use source tense anymore because we're using a string builder. We don't have to worry about overwriting paste tense inside of the loop. The char at I sb append paste tense.char at I. And then paste tense equals sb.toString. All right, so that is hopefully the implementation for the allow list. Should I test this? Probably. So let's test that it didn't Oh, I see my issues there. That wasn't too bad actually. Just missed a parenthesis. Method contains but not applicable to argument. What? Wait, what? Method contains char sequence and type string is not applicable with the arguments char. Will that help you? That's supposed to be an S. Please don't yell at me for that one. And then char sequence once again. Key plus blank, turn it into a string because that's what it wants. Okay, let's do, hello? Okay, then test me. As long as it is a printable character, basically, it's currently typable. Great. But now we're going to set an allow list, because that's going to mean use allow list is going to be, oh, we didn't set allow list equals, or use allow list to true there. So going to then chain on this constructor here, dot set allow list, then we'll just take a string of all the allowed characters. In this case, I'm going to limit it to only accepting numbers. Let's see if this works. Okay, so far it looks like it's working. Now let's try, hey, key 1, bit 34. All right, let's see what happens if I try to paste in this. So here we go, Control V. I don't think that works. Well, let's make sure you can get anything in there. Why is that not working? Okay. Ah, dang it. Could have sworn I was like on a home run here. Woo! So if you use allow list, it just does all this. Alright, first things first. We put that there. Then, we simply print out this. Whoa. Did not expect that to paste it. Or to paste something. And then we also paste out, or print out the character of which we are currently analyzing there. And whether or not it's true. That being true, so hold up. False P. Oh. Wait, what? Should have gotten more than one character through there, right? I is less than paste tense.length. I have no idea why that's flashing there. So we got that. It got false at P and then just stopped. Oh. I see why. Well, yes, we did need to get it. I put this inside the for loop. Haha. That's not how that's supposed to be. And so then it just overwrites itself. It becomes failed, and there we go. All right. So now we paste here. I could also get rid of this thing. Just copy this block of code here, and we got 2 zeros out of it. That's correct. More importantly, if I get like this long string of text that includes I guess I didn't do cut. Whatever, you can manually cut stuff by Control C, delete if you really, really, really want to. All right. Yay, it cut out everything that wasn't the numbers. Okay, I'm going to call this this system here for now completed because I don't want to work on this at all tonight. I gotta go. I have class tomorrow that I have to get up for. So like, whew, that being said, I'm gonna say thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Please make sure to leave a like on your way out. And if you enjoyed, consider subscribing. And if you subscribe now, turn on notifications so you're not notified of future times when I do live streams like this one or anything else I do. Check out my game, which I briefly mentioned at the beginning, but this is ultimately going to be used in. That's linked down below in the description, and we'll see you later.